The general election, scheduled for early 1967, would be the fourth since independence and the first since the Jawaharlal Nehru's death. This election saw many new trends and witnessed the events which led to long-time repercussions. Today, we are going to discuss this historical general election of India. Since the inception of India, the Western media had been pessimistic about the stability of India within democratic framework. After the death of Nehru, they were certain about the end of democracy in India. Many reporters thought that 1967 elections might not be held and the army will take power. Neville Maxwell of the London Times wrote a series of articles on India's disintegrating democracy. He argued that the crisis is upon India. According to him, 1967 elections will be the fourth and the last general election. The great experiment of developing India within a democratic framework has failed. But as earlier, even this time, those pessimists were proven wrong. India held the democracy not only in 1967 but for many decades after that, till today. Congress had been declining since 1964. It now went into elections under the leadership of the syndicate, weakened, divided, and faction-ridden, with the leadership showing little awareness of the party's decline in public support and estimation. Factionalism in Congress was fully reflected in the selection of party candidates. The ticket distribution was dominated by the syndicate members who acted in a highly partisan manner. Nearly 1,000 congressmen who had been denied tickets now chose to stand against the official Congress candidates as independents or as members of new state-level dissident groups. Opposing the ruling Congress were parties to its left, such as the various communist and socialist fragments. Major leftist parties were Communist Party of India and Communist Party of India Marxist. Parties to right were Jan Sangh and Swatantra Party. There was fierce competition at the regional level from the state parties like Akali Dal in Punjab and DMK in Madras. The year 1967 witnessed the beginning of coalition politics. Opposition parties formed anti-Congress fronts in some states. They entered into a series of electoral adjustments by sharing seats and avoiding contests. Quite often, the dissident Congress parties and groups also joined this process. Lohia socialists were the most promiscuous. They did not hesitate to join the communal Jansangh and the rightist Swatantra. Similarly, in many states, the secular Swatantra and the communal Jansangh joined forces. In few states, the communist right-wing divide was also breached. In Tamil Nadu, Swatantra, CPM, Muslim League, and the chauvinist DMK were partners. The CPM and Muslim League were allies in Kerala, as were the Jansangh Akalis and CPM in Punjab. One survey conducted before the election found that minorities which were once a loyal vote bank were disenchanted with the Congress party. Same went for the young and the less educated. On the other side, the opposition was more united than before. Due to seat adjustments, the Congress could not so easily benefit from a 3 or 4 way division of the votes. With this background, the fourth general election was held between 17th to 21st February 1967. Let us now look at the highlights of this election. The election witnessed a great political awakening among the people. In 1967, the turnout of eligible voters was 61.1%, the highest so far. The election results were dramatic and Congress suffered a serious setback. Though Congress succeeded in retaining control of the Lok Sabha by winning 284 out of 520 seats. Its majority was drastically reduced from 228 in 1962 to 48. Its dominant leadership in the form of the syndicate received a major blow as several syndicate stalwarts, including Kamaraj, Atulya Ghosh and S.K. Patil, beat the dust. Most of the loyal followers of the syndicate failed to get elected to the parliament and the state assemblies, leaving them in no position to control the process of government formation at the center, as they had done in 1964 and 1966. The most humiliating defeat suffered by the Congress was in the southern state of Madras. Here, the DMK swept the polls, winning 138 seats out of a total of 234 in the assembly. The Congress won merely 50 seats. The DMK leader C. N. Annadurai was sworn in as chief minister. Madras had long been a Congress stronghold. Now even the venerable K. Kamaraj was washed away in the landslide. He lost in his hometown to a 28-year-old student activist named P. Srinivasan. Coalition governments were formed in all opposition-ruled states except Tamil Nadu. In Kerala, coalition government of CPI and CPM was formed. In West Bengal, Bangla Congress formed the coalition government along with CPM. In Punjab, Bihar and Uttar Pradesh, opposition governments included Swatantra, Janasangh, BKD, Socialist and the CPI. Thus, these governments were ideologically heterogeneous, and left-right or secular communal divides were almost completely bridged in them. Congress too formed coalition governments in some of the states where it had been reduced to minority, allying with independents and breakaway groups from the opposition parties. In most of the states in northern India, Congress had won slender majorities. These became prey to intrigue with the formation of factions by ambitious leaders seeking to become chief ministers. In the states of Uttar Pradesh, Madhya Pradesh, Haryana and Bihar, Congress governments were formed, only to fall when a group of disgruntled defectors moved across to the other side. A coalition of legislators, left, right and center, united only by the desire to grab power. 1967 general election set new trends. One trend was to form coalition government. Also, opposition parties started forming alliances before elections to share seats and minimize the vote division. Another trend was the defection of legislators to other side, which continued until the anti-defection law was passed by Rajiv Gandhi government in 1985. This election also witnessed the rising regional sentiments in the elections. These trends set in this year are prevailing in India even today, which makes the general election of 1967 historically a significant one. Now, let us discuss the beginning of Naxalite movement, which is haunting India even today. This may not sound directly related to the general election, but its roots are connected to this election up to some extent. The CPM had originally split from the United CPI in 1964 on grounds of differences over revolutionary politics and reformist parliamentary politics. It was founded by Jyoti Basu on 7th November 1964. However, in practice, the CPM participated actively in parliamentary politics, postponing the armed struggle to the day when a revolutionary situation prevailed in the country. Consequently, it participated in the 1967 general election and formed a coalition government in West Bengal with Bangla Congress. Jyoti Basu became the Home Minister. This led to a schism in the party. A section of the party, consisting largely of its younger cadres and inspired by the Cultural Revolution going on in China, accused the party leadership of falling prey to reformism and parliamentarism. They argued that the party must instead immediately initiate armed peasant insurrections in rural areas, leading to the formation of liberated areas and the gradual extension of armed struggle to the entire country. To implement their political line, the rebel CPM leaders launched a peasant uprising in the small Naxalbari area of northern West Bengal under the leadership of Kanu Sanyal. The CPM leadership immediately expelled the rebel leaders, accusing them of left-wing adventurism, and used the party organization and government machinery to suppress the Naxalbari insurrection. The breakaway CPM leaders came to be known as Naxalites and were soon joined by the other similar groups from the CPM in rest of the country, especially in Telangana and Orissa. The Naxalite movement drew many young people, especially college and university students, who were dissatisfied with existing politics and angry at the prevailing social conditions. They were attracted by radical Naxalite slogans. In 1969, West Bengal government was dissolved and fresh elections were conducted. This time, CPM emerged as a more powerful party by winning 80 seats. It again entered into coalition with Bangla Congress. But some members of CPM were not satisfied with the parliamentary politics of CPM. In 1969, the Communist Party Marxist-Leninist was formed under the leadership of Charu Majumdar. The CPML and other Naxalite groups argued that democracy in India was a sham. The Indian state was fascist. Agrarian relations in India were still basically feudal. The Indian big bourgeoisie was comprador. India was politically and economically dominated by US, British and Soviet imperialism. Indian polity and economy were still colonial. Indian revolution was still in its anti-imperialist, anti-feudal stage, and protracted guerrilla warfare on the Chinese model was the form of revolution that would take place in India. The Naxalite groups got political and ideological support from the Chinese government. The Naxalite movement started during this period is still not over. Lot of blood has already been shed by it. India has to deploy significant security forces to control this movement, contributing to the burden on the expenditure over maintaining security, law and order. The movement has done more harm than any good to Indian society. In our next video, we will discuss the leftward swing of Indira Gandhi's politics. Thank you for watching this video. Please like, share and comment because discussion is solution. For more discussions, please subscribe our channel.